Hello, procrastinators, and welcome to Nerd3's Totally Not Poop Awards 2013. These are the best games of the year, in my opinion, etc. But these are the games that I have climbed the mountain of amazingness and plucked from the nest of amazingness and given to a guy called Amazingness. I don't quite know anymore. These are the best games. This will be the 10 best games of the year. It was so hard to make this list. So goddamn hard. There were so many outstanding games that made this list. Some games that I want to mention before we get started that were superb, but I just didn't have a spot from this list. Things like Devil May Cry. I know that was a bit controversial. Some people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed Devil May Cry. Bioshock Infinite. I adored Bioshock Infinite, but there's sort of the disconnect between the shooting and the sort of story. It sort of got to me in the end, so it didn't make it into the list. The Last of Us is exceptional. When I first played it, it did sort of bore me, then I sort of got back into it again, and then I sort of abandoned it again, so I haven't finished it. But I don't intend to, because I don't agree with I don't agree with Joel and his character. I don't agree with the stuff he was doing. So, like, Spec Ops: The Line taught me to do this. I just backed out and went, I'm done with this. It's an exceptional game, but I don't want to go any further, because I stopped agreeing with the character. That's such a weird thing. God damn you, Spec Ops Line, for ruining all games for me. But I can see why that's probably going to be a lot of people's game of the year and stuff. But that's sort of. There's so many great games I really want to talk about forever. But let's get into the top 10 games that I think you should all just fucking rush out and buy now. Some of these are going to seem a little bit off, especially considering they're kind of better than Last of Us and Bioshock Infinite. But bear with me, I have my reasoning. In number 10, Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool. I had the time of my life playing Deadpool. Yeah, the combat's a little sort of clunky and stuff, and the final boss is a difficulty spike that's just a vertical line upwards. But for comedy, I have not played a funnier game. I have not played a funny game, and it's so good to have a game that was entirely comedy-focused. Really just entirely comedy-focused. It was insane. It was just brilliant and stupid. Oh, it's immature as anything. It's really immature. But if you've played a lot of games, it really plays into that sort of the meta game sort of thing, and it's just wonderful. I don't really want to spoil bits of it. It's a game that I really recommend you go out and buy and play through. The combat's lacking. I did sort of enjoy the combat because you did a lot of teleporting around, hacking stuff, which felt really cool. I did like the jumping around stuff. So I thought as it was sort of mild on the combat, but the story, especially the ending, which is superb, one of the best ever sort of final cutscenes. But it's one of those games where I don't go, oh, it's a cutscene, I'm going to get a bit bored now. I look forward to the cutscenes. The in-game dialogue was great. It was so meta. It was really entertaining. I adored Deadpool. Number 9. Geoguessr. Yeah, I thought long and hard about putting this one in here if it made it to top 10. But you know what? Geoguessr is a game that doesn't stick with the logic or the language of games, but it's accessible to everyone. And they always go, oh, things are accessible to everyone. No, a lot of games you say that for. Things like Angry Birds gets said that a lot. I don't think that's accessible to everyone. I think that some people go, I don't know what's going on. But I think Geoguessr is, you're in a place, you can walk around it, and you can try and work out what it is. And as a first introduction to games, that is so much better than something like Candy Crush or Angry Birds or something. Geoguessr is literally for everyone. Like, every person can have fun with Geoguessr and sort of enjoy it. It can be a group activity, it's a single player thing. Geoguessr is something very, very different and very, very special. And it is most certainly a video game. Number 8, Spelunky. Yeah, Spelunky came out for PC this year, and also Vita, much to my sleeping pattern's detriment. But I adore Spelunky. I've said this many times that I absolutely adore Spelunky. Spelunky's randomly generated levels are insane, and it's constantly... It's weird. It feels like it's a game that they're constantly adding stuff to, but it's not. I'm just constantly finding new stuff. Like, very recently I found out if the ghost that comes at the end of the level touches a gem, it will turn that gem into a very, very valuable gem, but you then have to sort of, like, dance against the ghost and try and get past the ghost a lot, which makes it a lot harder to get these gems. But you could farm using the ghost, and I find that out. And all these little discoveries and little things that are just in there. It's just the pitch perfect game. That's probably why it's one of my most played games on Steam. I literally play it like every single day. Like, every single day I would just have a round. I'll just play the daily challenge. Just go, I'm going to do that. And it's enjoyable. It's still constantly enjoyable. It's tense, it's frustrating, it's absolutely exceptional, and it's on almost every device under the sun now. So you should seriously, seriously give Spelunky a go. Both versions, that is. As much as this is the the new sort of version, which is the one I got used to. The free original version is still fantastic as well if you want to give that a go. Number 7. Surgeon Simulator 2013. Yes, Surgeon Simulator. God, I adore this game. Its mechanics are just so mental, stupid, batshit banana flavored silly. It's endlessly entertaining. And it really is endlessly entertaining. It's just one of those games you just fire up and you go, I'm playing a bit of this, and then you'll just be I just giggle uncontrollably to myself because the spleen's just gone off in the wrong direction. I can't quite get there. It's awkward enough to just kind of constantly test you. I don't think you can ever really get that good at it. And even if you do get that good at it, you'll still fuck up a lot and it will entirely be your fault. But it's just one of those really brilliant, different sort of games, and it's genius in its stupidity, and that is why I adore it. Number 6. Tearaway. Yes, Media Molecule, the people who make Little Big Planet's latest game on the PlayStation Vita, jumps up to number 6 simply because it's amazing. It is astounding in its, not only its look, because everything, unlike Little Big Planet where everything's sort of junkyard, everything in this is papercraft. Everything is made out of paper, like everything. And it's all just crinkly and the way it all lines up and stuff. So the paper, because you know paper on paper, it has like little curls and stuff. You can step on those curls to press them down, and the world feels so rich and inviting and open to explore. And it's just got a charm. And it uses all of these, the features of the Vita, which is something I normally can't stand when they use sort of the touchscreen stuff. It uses them all so well. One exception in the later levels, it uses the tilt function, which I'm not a fan of. But sort of using the back touch and your finger comes through, and the front touch to squish enemies and stuff. And even the camera, whenever you see the sun, it's got your face in it using the camera. And so I'm constantly pulling stupid faces. Constantly pulling stupid faces in this story, and I felt so involved. And you take photos of yourself as it goes along, and they appear in places, and you build things out of papercraft. You literally like cut shapes and stuff. It's wonderful, little charming. It just oozes charm. It's endlessly entertaining, and the ending of it is just so beautiful. It's just insane. You seriously, this is finally, I will now finally say that the Vita has a game it's worth picking up a Vita for, and that is Tearaway. Number 5, the Stanley Parable. Was tempted to put this in number 8 just for the sake of meta-ness, but no, it's the Stanley Parable, much like Deadpool, is a meta-analysis of the language of gaming, where Deadpool does play it for fart jokes and explosions. The Stanley Parable is much more subtle and intelligent in its approach. Does that mean I'm for intelligent comedy to stupid comedy? Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, the Stanley Parable sort of... It's a lot of those, like, first-person exploration games sort of fail. Like, in the Stanley Parable, you'd just be walking around. There's, like, hardly any more interactivity than that. But it's so involving and it's so engrossing, and you could finish it in 15 minutes, or you can get lost in it and play it over and over and over again, constantly finding new things and different things. And every time you think you've beaten it, especially when I click my way out of a window because of one of the things you do, there's an ending there waiting for you, just going, oh, you think you're clever, do you? It's a superb analysis of the narratives of gaming, and its wit is just so. It's just on the nose. It's just superb. It does manipulate you a fair bit, but it's seriously worth playing. You seriously have to give the Stanley Parable a go, or the Stanley Parable demo. In fact, play both, because they are both brilliant. Number 4, Antechamber. Yeah, Antechamber. Played this really early on in the year. Antechamber was an experience. Antechamber is a game that you step into, and it goes, I am going to fuck with your head. And it does. It's like you turn around and things have changed and things don't quite fit up and optical illusions work and seeing things... I cannot recommend it enough. If you're a puzzle fan, you seriously have to play Antechamber. A few people do have frustrations with it and they get lost a bit and not quite sure what to do. But if you open your mind and think way outside the box, then you will have an absolutely wonderful time. Plus, it's also pretty well designed for speedrunners as well, so there's some entertaining speedruns. Also, once you sort of know your way around it and know most of it, watch the speedruns and go, wait, you could do that? Utterly great fun, seriously confusing, and it made my brain turn to spaghetti. Number 3, Gunpoint. Oh, Gunpoint, how I adore you. It's one of the best feeling games. I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but when you sort of catapult your dude round the place and land on someone and you click and punch, it all feels so sharp, and it's precise and it's beautiful. As for the game goes, the rewiring of circuits is good fun. The level editor can make some seriously crazy shit with. It is a joy to play, and I had such a wonderful time with it. And again, that was another demo that was really entertaining. So if you're not sure about it, pick up the demo and it will sell it to you. Now, number 2. So, if you follow me enough, you know there's, and I don't mean in a stalky sort of way, I mean in a Twitter and YouTube video sort of way, you'll know there's 2 games that are gonna be in number 1 and number 2. They're a slightly interesting way around. My favourite game of the year, the game that I enjoyed playing the most, is next. So number 2 is my sort of favourite game. Number 1 is a game that I would consider perfect. And there are only 2 other games I would consider perfect. That is Portal and Shadow of the Colossus. My number 1 slot is the 3rd perfect game I've ever played in my life, which I wasn't expecting when I went into it, but I was damn surprised with it. But we should go through number 2 first. Number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5. I adore Grand Theft Auto 5, as many of you know. There is so much to do. And this is just the single player. The multiplayer is an optional extra that I'm not going on here. This is just the single player. It is beautiful. It is insane. How they got that to work on an old Xbox, old PlayStation 3, I honestly have no idea. Wizards built this game. The level of detail blows my mind. It's just crafted down to the gnats, just the fucking gnats. It's just insane. The characters being larger than life, massively entertaining. The story, finally, they worked out how to sort of pace a story in an open world game. The constantly switching between characters and them doing stuff really got involved. I started playing the game, and everyone who plays it plays the game differently depending on which character they're playing as. It's mind-boggling in its scale and scope. It's endlessly replayable, and I have a few... The thing that pushed it down from first place to second place was the end game, and money in the end game is quite tricky to sort out. Like, you do need to do certain things in certain order to have enough money to do everything in the end, otherwise it's going to take forever. But, so that slight slip-up of the end game pushed it back, but I seriously recommend it. Everyone's already got 12 copies of it, but it is masterful. It is a masterstroke of a game. It is a game that will be remembered for a very, very, very long time. And it's sort of... It's the biggest entertainment release of all time. And that isn't bad, considering that's Hollywood being taken down by Scotland. Hell yeah, that's wonderful. But anyway, it's time for number 1, the best game of 2013. A game I would call perfect, which is a scary, scary thing to do, because I'm very tentative of giving that title out. But this is a game that has earned it the perfect 10, if you will. Papers, Please. Papers, Please is a game that made me corrupt. Papers, Please answered a question. A question, whenever you see a news story, you see people who have done illegal stuff, you go, why? Why would you do that thing? Papers, Please is the answer to that question. Papers, Please is a game that entirely using its gameplay made me slide... No, not made me slide, because that's the wrong thing. It made me slide into corruption, but it didn't. I chose to slide into corruption given the mechanics. The game is perfectly playable if I don't want to do that. If I don't want to slide into corruption, the game could host me in that direction and go, that sort of thing's there. But I tried to save a family that I was attached to, and I did that by fucking over other people. And I made that decision. I didn't make the decision by pushing a face button at the end of the game. I made that decision using the incredible gameplay, the tactile gameplay that you budge those little bits of paper around. It feels so different and exciting, and it contains the most horrific moment in any game ever, where someone walks past out of your booth and that ticket machine makes the loudest noise in the universe as it prints, "You were wrong," and you fucked up, and you did something wrong. It's terrifying. Every time you're sort of rushing because you're like, you need to do certain things, you kind of go, okay, I'll approve you, but please don't fuck up, please don't fuck up, please don't fuck up. Oh, thank God. Or, we're wrong. It's a game changer. It's a complete game changer. Because we had a few systems that did sort of moral choice stuff that were okay, but this is the one that's nailed it. This is the one that's nailed it. Every single game now is going to be pushed up against Papers, Please and go, yeah, but Papers, Please did it in-game with its gameplay and was vastly superior. It lasted the exact right length. It has... I could just sit here and spout how brilliant it is. But the best thing to do would be go and play Papers, Please. Go play all of these games, but most importantly, you need to play Papers, Please. It is just the pinnacle of gaming. And with all that microtransaction bollocks happening on the other side of the awards, a game that you just pay a few quid for, play it to its thing, it will change you. It will change you. And that is what we should really be looking for in our games. Thank you very much for watching. Not just now, but for this entire year. It's been quite a rough, spinny year with YouTube doing some stupid things. But I'm still going, and I'll be changing things up a little bit soon, I think. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and have a good today, because tomorrow there'll be more stuff. Ta-ra.
Enter the domain of the Nerd Cube. Videos dropping from above like bird poo. Enter the domain of the Nerd Cube. Videos dropping from above like bird